Hey guys, welcome to Negate. Welcome to another video. And I am so very sorry that you guys had to wait for this video about you guys probably know by the title and by what was the most important news in world football yesterday. And it's regarding Manchester City and that they have a 2-year sanction from the UEFA competitions. No Champions League, no Europa League, meaning that it's a huge opportunity for all the biggest clubs in the world, and Barcelona are not the exception. I couldn't do this video honestly yesterday because I had to think this through, exactly know what this meant. Let's start by saying first, what do I think about the sanction? Do I think it's fair? And I have to say that you guys know I am pro Guardiola. I like the Manchester City team in terms of how they play and everything, but they deserve to be sanctioned for sure. You're not gonna be here trying for me to debate whether they should be sanctioned or not. But the one thing that I have to say is, how on earth did you sanction Manchester City but you haven't sanctioned PSG at all? That's my one thing. How on earth did you allow a team to spend 400 million euros in the span of 1 year and not sanction them? It's just crazy to me. I do have to say that I think that this is a very dirty move, because they should have waited to announce this, because they're basically killing the competition. You don't know what's going to happen after this. The Champions League is what, in 2 weeks' time? We're having Champions League in 2 weeks' time. Madrid are gonna play against Manchester City, and I don't know what you're doing, honestly. This is very, I believe they should have gotten this sanction, but they shouldn't have given this news now. Because basically what you're doing is that you don't know what the Manchester City, how the team is going to react. Is Guardiola going to be motivated to stay at the team? And that's something I'm going to touch on that later on this video. And are the players going to be in the right mind space? It's impossible that this doesn't affect them. Because 1 year, it's one thing, getting a sanction for 1 year. You can say okay, we'll tough it out. It's going to be a sacrifice, but we'll tough it out for 1 year. It's just one season. Let's focus in the Premier League and stuff like that. But for 2 seasons, for a lot of these players are just in their prime, and in 2 years' time they could be not in their prime. It's a very tough cookie to swallow. It's gonna be very difficult for Manchester City moving forward, definitely. And like I said, this is a huge opportunity for it's a huge opportunity for a lot of teams, especially I want to say to Manchester United, because they were dead and buried. And this has revived them, or has given them an opportunity to be revived. Because let's be honest, Manchester United, they have good players. They have some good players. They just need, if they all of a sudden, because they do have the money and they do have legitimate ways of producing that money. If they bring in 3 to 4 top quality players, a manager that knows what the project's gonna be, and things like that, and everything works well, then all of a sudden you find a team that is in 1 or 2 years' time could be challenging Liverpool for the Premier League title. And I'm not kidding. Manchester United, I just don't think they're going to be doing that, because they're not a small run club. But they do have the assets to do so. And just before starting the Barcelona topic of this video, basically the sanction was given because it's to make the competition fair. Because the clubs like Manchester City, like PSG and many others, they are run by owners and not by associates, by members of the board. And it's different, because all these clubs are run by owners. They can just inject money and do whatever the hell they want. They can inject 400 million euros in one summer, or they've done with Manchester City, which is they're getting penalized for the period 2012 to 2016. And Well, there you have it. I think that is something that should have been done. The next one to be hit needs to be PSG. At the end of the season, they better say to PSG the same thing, because otherwise it's not unfair, but it is not acting with everyone the same. So something they need to do as well. There are other clubs that are implied, but Manchester City is the one that's been mentioned now. And now let's shift into the topic. How does this affect Barcelona? Well, for one, it means that one of your biggest rivals for the Champions League, it's not going to be competing against you, which is great. And yes, Manchester City is one of the favorite greats every season, like Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool, PSG, Manchester City, Juventus. Like, all of these are like, and Bayern Munich obviously, and there's more teams that are threats in the competition. And having one less means that you have more opportunities to win the Champions League, of course. Also, this means that Pep Guardiola could seriously reconsider leaving Manchester City. I'm not sure if he's going to leave Manchester City to dry, but there's already been rumors that he could have been ending his season this season or next season, or it could be soon his departure, and maybe this will be what decides whether Pep Guardiola stays at Manchester City or not. So there's also rumors of Guardiola that could go to Juventus, and that could be in the works. But as a Barcelona fan, and if things don't go well this season, which there's a high probability that they will not go well this season, and that is not saying that Setien is a bad manager or anything, but if I have to choose between Pep Guardiola, that's a proven manager for the Barcelona style, especially like the best manager that we could ever have for our style, or Quique Setien, that could potentially be a good manager, and I believe in Setien, but there is a huge difference, and I believe that the only reason that Setien becomes untouchable if he wins the Champions League, which I see it very hard at Barcelona win the Champions League. So maybe a re-election if we fail this season, and there is elections for this summer, maybe one of Laporta, Vincent Fox could convince Guardiola to come back to Barcelona and basically do the rebuild, because we are at that stage where a strong hand can force that rebuild. And who better than Guardiola? Basically, if for example Laporta was to come in and say to Guardiola, hey, signing you here for X how many years, you can be coaching this club for how many years you want, and you're gonna have the freedom to do whatever you want with the team. If you want X players out of the team, they will be out. If you want this part of the coaching staff, they are out. If you want to sign this and this player, and we are able to do that, they're here. Things like that. Give Guardiola almost complete freedom to do whatever the hell he wants with his team. And I think he's the man with the job. I also think that it's a great way to convince Messi to stay, to finally convince Messi to sign the last contract in his career with Barcelona, basically saying you can stay here for how many years, and that would be great. That would be great. Messi could sign, because who better than Guardiola to convince Messi that here is the best project to win, because he is the manager that you want the most with. So all on that would be great. Also, considering that you can't forget that maybe you could Guardiola could bring in Xavi with him to be his second in command, and maybe Guardiola in 4 or 5 year times, of however many years he wants to be a Barcelona for, if he was to come in, then Xavi would be ready to step into that role, or be maybe like a Mikel Arteta, where he's training with Guardiola for a couple of years, and maybe Xavi takes a job maybe in the Premier League, in La Liga, in the Bundesliga, something like that. And that would be very interesting for sure. And now it's time to discuss what does this mean for the transfer window. Because Barcelona's transfer window with this means also that they have one less rival, that is Manchester City, for players. Because now players are going to have, they have the list of options. Let's take, for example, Lautaro Martinez. Lautaro Martinez is being touted out for Barcelona, Real Madrid. I heard rumors for Manchester City as well. And now maybe if Manchester City was on your top of the spot, maybe with him saying, hey, they don't have Champions League for 2 years' time, maybe if Barcelona was second in the list of options for Lautaro Martinez, then Barcelona go ahead and become first in the list for Lautaro, and that's things like that would be is very important at the moment for negotiating for players, for convincing them to join your project. Because at this moment in time, basically, the project of all of the big teams in Europe is better than Manchester City's, because Manchester City cannot promise Champions League football. They cannot deliver Champions League football, and that is something that a lot of these players need for able to, just reach success in their careers. And that is very important as well. And the last part about how does this benefit Barcelona in terms of transfers is that Barcelona and every other team in world football, that is the big heavyweights in world football, have the opportunity of convincing a lot of those Manchester City players to go, to join their team. And Barcelona have a golden opportunity, and I was going to make a video about it, coincidentally, maybe you were not going to believe me, but I was going to make a video regarding the 5 players that's a shame that Barcelona never signed them, and that by the looks of it, they're not going to come to Barcelona. And Kevin De Bruyne has been one of my favorite players since that season that he had at Wolfsburg. He's been one of my favorite players in world football. He's been my second behind Lionel Messi. And I never thought that I was going to be able to see De Bruyne in a Barcelona jersey, but if there is the opportunity, and there is, because I don't if Kevin De Bruyne becomes available, I don't care what you have to do, but you go ahead and get rid of Coutinho, you get rid of Rakitic, you get rid of Arturo Vidal, you get rid of you have options for sure, and you go ahead and buy Kevin De Bruyne and Timo Werner. I'm not gonna say Kevin De Bruyne and Lautaro Martinez because that would be very expensive, but you can for sure get rid of Rakitic, Arturo Vidal, and Coutinho to be able to buy Kevin De Bruyne, and then you use the budget of 60 to 80 million euros that Barcelona get every season to buy Timo Werner, and that becomes one of the best teams in the world for sure. This is something that we have to act on now. And there's also other Manchester City players that are interesting. Maybe I understand that adding another midfielder goes pretty much against all that I stand for in this channel, which is give opportunities to the youngsters. But come on, man, he's Kevin De Bruyne. He is probably the only player that I will make an exception in the world right now to bring in a center midfielder, because he is absolutely world class. And if maybe you are interested in other players, maybe a center back, you have Aymeric Laporte, who now could be convinced to leave Manchester City. You have Leroy Sané, who's already seems to be pretty much on his way out of Manchester City anyways. Well, you get him for a cut-priced fee, because I believe that at the end of this season he has only 1 year left in his contract, so that would be great. There's a lot of things that you can start considering, because there's a lot of players in the Manchester City team that you should consider for your team. And basically that's all I have to say. It will be a golden opportunity. Also, Barcelona is not the only one that's gonna notice this, because yes, like I said, missing one season, that's it's okay, it's not ideal, but it'll do. But missing 2 seasons, for example, Kevin De Bruyne right now 20 years old. In 2 seasons he's 30. That's it. He went from in his prime to exiting his prime and just being in the twilight of his career. A lot of things can happen in 2 seasons. So we need to act on this. It for me it's something that needs to be implemented more for sure. And if Barcelona or Real Madrid go ahead and start pulling strings and doing these weird deals, like Barcelona, for example, have been doing with moving money here, loaning this there, doing this, doing all these weird things, then they should get sanctioned, because rules are rules, and some rules don't make sense, but this is something that is completely necessary. But anyways, guys, leave me your opinions about the topic. Do you think that it was fair to Manchester City to be done this? What players do you think we should sign for Manchester City? How do you think that we should go about the summer? Do you think Guardiola is going to leave Manchester City and come back to Barcelona? Would you like Guardiola back at Barcelona? Leave me all your opinions in the comment section below. Comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next one, Blaugranas.